Thank you for joining us for yet another episode of Beyond the Clouds. I am, as always, joined by my co-host, Declan. Today we are here with my very good friend, Martin.
What's up, guys?
I love it. It's funny because every time we have a guest, it's like there's always like a different thing they do for an introduction. It's always like either like a wave or like a nod, but we get the ceremonial bow. I like that.
That's from my half Korean side.
Right. Good stuff, man. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. So for those of you who don't know Martin, first of all, like you're living under a rock because Martin is like he's like one of the staples of the Arizona vape industry. He's been all over the place, and so you're with Mr. Joe Bradley, who we actually had on the show a couple weeks ago now.
2 weeks ago. Episodes ago. Yep.
Yeah. So I guess let's start. How do you like it over there?
I love it. So I've been at Bradley's brand for close to a month now. He hired me pretty much to do the same thing I did for Kidney Puncher, develop a wholesale department, our own wholesale department, instead of relying on outside distributors to get it done, which is really the best way to do it. And I took, pretty much everything I learned in the 3 years I had been doing at Kidney Puncher, going to do it, the same way, with less what do you call it? Mistakes this time.
Yeah.
Because obviously I learned a lot.
Yeah, it's always easier doing something the second time than the first time.
Yep,
so
exactly.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with together.
Yeah, very excited.
Like Joe's a great guy. Bradley's brand is a great company. So like he picked a winner to make his wholesale department.
Yeah, and he did a really good job with his branding. That's been one of the things. Besides flavors. And prices, the branding, the way the product looks, he did a really good job getting awesome reception, from vape shops across the country.
I would even say that in many cases, branding is more important than flavors
Certainly.
And prices.
Yeah.
That's the reason that Hype Juice exists.
Yeah, definitely.
If you put something out and it's got really good branding, then a bunch of people are going to buy it before they figure out it's trash.
Yep, that and marketing, obviously.
Yeah.
Which we're working on that part. So
Definitely.
We're going to make it huge, so.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it, man. Yeah, and I really like Joe's design style.
Right.
It's professional, but kind of almost what's sort of minimalist a little bit.
Yeah.
Clean.
Yeah.
Not cluttered.
Yeah, it's not cluttered.
Not over the top. It's still very eye catching. Most definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually contracted him to make some labels for my new line.
Nice, yeah.
But we'll talk about that.
Joe
in a
is really
future
good
episode.
at branding. So.
Yeah. No,
I know he's helped
legit.
other people. I know, New Method, the redesign for them.
Yeah, no, and that came out really well.
Yeah,
really well.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie, that was actually because Declan here has done all of my other labels,
right?
For everything I've ever done. But I wanted to do something a little bit different with this new one. So and I'm not gonna lie, I saw the New Method labels and I was like, dude, that looks sick.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I was like, yeah, I need that guy. And I'm happy with the results. But yeah, either way, Bradley's brand is awesome. Joe is awesome. Martin is awesome. So let's review some products.
So today we're going to be checking out the Radio Shack 18650 battery. They come in two different types. There's going to be a 2,500 milliamp hour battery and then a 3,000 milliamp hour. They both have two different pulse rates. One's at 3 seconds, the other one's at 2. But how do you like them? You've been using them for a while?
Yeah, I got them. I got these from GK, who to my knowledge were the first people in the state to get them, and I got them right when they showed up. I was literally waiting there when the package showed up.
Yeah.
I love them. But again, and I feel like we keep coming back to this when we do product reviews. It's yeah, this is good. Is it substantially different in any way from some other ones? Honestly, not really. But there are some really cool things about the Radio Shack batteries aside from just their performance that made me a believer. First of all, when I started, we'll call it aggressively vaping, was when the LG HD2s, the brownies, were super popular.
Right.
And brownies were great, but LG kind of shied away from that, and actually, when you buy them now, it says do not use for vaping or something like that on them. And I get that. If some idiot's going to put that battery in something and build a .001 coil on it or some shit like that, they're going to blow themselves up, and nobody wants to take responsibility, so they just blame the battery. So a lot of the battery manufacturers are saying you're not supposed to use this for vaping, so that's kind of the response to any sort of lawsuit or malpractice or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. But I like the fact that Radio Shack specifically says that these batteries are for vaping. which I assume means they have some sort of like insurance or like they're willing to shoulder the liability for it and stuff like that. So if you're a shop owner, I would definitely recommend taking these, because like if you sell a battery to somebody that says do not use for vaping and you sell it to somebody to use for vaping, like that's your problem at that point.
Yeah, and we'll pop up a screenshot of the actual Radio Shack site as well that, you know, tells you all this information as well, and then a link down below.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm assuming that that's happening right now while I'm talking in post-production, but I like the fact that, so like they said, there's two different, like the capacities, you know, 2500 milliamp, and a 3000 milliamp, but I like that most batteries will, their amp rating that they put on the battery is the pulse amp rating, which is always going to be higher than the continuous discharge. These, it lists both, but it lists the continuous, like big and forefront, and then like kind of off to the side in smaller print it has the max rating, and it says how long the pulse will last at that rating before it gets dangerous. So that's just cool. It's extra information that we need. Then, you know, if you want to go through this part, but there's a lot of like little things that most battery manufacturers just don't include. And like honestly, if you're an experienced vapor, these are all things that you know about batteries already, but I'll let you take that part.
Yeah, I mean, it's just saying the norm, you know, you're not to store your loose batteries in your pocket or purse. It's a big issue that, I know, me in a retail setting comes as people don't understand you can't have keys and like loose change and stuff like that inside your pockets. They don't understand that, you know, it can make your battery vent, which isn't good. Do not use damaged, modified, or wet batteries, which, I mean, is never good. If your 18650 wraps are, you know, torn, there's a lot of stores to get them rewrapped.
Actually, something to bring up on that. I haven't scientifically tested this or not, or anything like that, but I noticed that the wraps on the Radio Shack batteries are definitely like thicker.
See, and that's saying a lot too, because I know a lot of people with the drag, it ends up ripping the wraps.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of customers come.
Yeah, I'll always get that little like triangle tear on them, and you know, I've had these for a couple months now, and like they still look brand new.
Yeah.
Like not only are they not ripped in any way, but they're not even like scuffed.
Yeah, and then don't use a battery with missing or torn insulation. Just went over that. And then remove or dispose of batteries safely. Like I know a lot of stores are getting those buckets now to return them, but a lot of people don't know you can also take them into Batteries Plus, and they'll take care of your batteries for you.
Oh, nice.
Yep. I think it's free of charge, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was going to be my question. How much does that cost? So the only other thing I have to add to this, and unfortunately I didn't bring them with me because we kind of decided this was going to be our review at the last second, but when you buy them, they come two to a pack, just like most batteries do. But instead of being like every other battery I've ever seen where it's just two of them in this little cardboard box, there's still two in a cardboard box, but within the box there are these two plastic cases, like individual battery cases.
Right.
And they're not like, oh, you got to crack it or break it to open it. Like it screws off. You could take it out. Like you could use that as your permanent, like I need to carry this battery in my pocket, so I'm going to put it in the case that it came with.
Right.
And that's awesome. So either way, yeah, like there's not really a test type of thing that we can do. I've been using this in regulated devices for, a couple months now, and I've experienced no problems. I push the button, I get vapor, it lasts an appropriate amount of time, which for me is almost all day, but not quite.
Well, I mean, you're a heavy vapor too.
Yeah,
so,
I definitely am.
Yeah, for the average consumer, they might be able to get through the whole day, honestly.
Well, I mean, like that's going to vary wildly by person.
Yep.
But I guess my point is it's got a equal battery life to. What was the ones you said, the pink ones, what are those called?
The Samsung 30Qs.
30Qs. So I was using those before, and then I was using the LG H22s before that. And as far as battery life goes, I don't really see any difference between any of them. So basically this is, if you like having batteries, but you don't want to, but you want to, kind of support people who are kind of doing it right, like definitely get the Radio Shack batteries. I'd say the biggest surprise for me when I saw these is that Radio Shack, it turns out Radio Shack still exists.
Yeah, right?
Like, I didn't know that. I thought they went out of business a while ago.
The last time I purchased something from Radio Shack, it was for little mini magnets to install in my original IPv3 door, which came with screws. And that was my last trip to Radio Shack.
So I think the last thing that I bought from Radio Shack was the little like custom or proprietary cord to attach a Wii U controller to the console.
Nice. I'm obviously a lot younger because I used to get those little cars that they used to sell there. You can replace the parts. That's my last memory of Radio Shack. So yeah.
Yeah. He used to get the little cars that just vroom around. This was 3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
Yeah, back when he was still in elementary school.
If anybody wants to race, let me know.
So I know this isn't really on topic, but this made me think of this. I saw this thing on the internet the other day. He's like, yeah, my cousin was bragging about, how he sleeps in a car bed, and I was like, yeah, joke's on you. I sleep in a real car. Hashtag just millennial things.
Nice.
So either way, yeah, that's that. Like, if you like batteries and you like not exploding and you like companies that are willing to take liability for their product and are making things specifically for you as a vapor, get some Radio Shack batteries.
Yeah.
That's that.
For me, obviously, I have never used these batteries, but the biggest thing for me is transparency from a company, and the fact, like I said, like we mentioned earlier, the ratings are clearly stated, and there is no standard for burst rating or pulse rating as far as the duration of that test, and it's stated 2 seconds or 3 seconds on the website. That to me is huge, and it shows that they're taking responsibility for what they're putting out there.
Yeah,
So.
and for me, it's like I like the, because I think that type of attitude is kind of what just like the vaping industry in general needs.
Absolutely.
Like just transparency. Like I'll even go back to like the diacetyl thing from a couple years ago. It's like there's nothing proven that like diacetyl is going to really do anything to you, but some people are concerned about it anyway. So like I don't think like we should make the industry standard to ban diacetyl. But if they said, yeah, if you have diacetyl in your juice, it has to say it on the label. Like I would be totally okay with that.
Right. Yep.
Transparency is what this is all about. So
Exactly.
Thank you, Radio Shack, for being transparent, especially your retail stores who I can see right through. So either way, yeah. Here's a commercial. We'll be back for more after this.
When you joined Radio Shack, you became an integral part of this outstanding corporation.
As our customers enter your Radio Shack store, this is what they should see. Radio Shack.
Man, that was a great commercial that I haven't seen yet. I'm just going to assume it's a commercial for my stuff because, like, no, we did do one for those. Never mind. I don't know what that was. Dope, though. So either way, this is, I was going to say my favorite segment, but I actually hate doing advocacy stuff, but it's the most important segment, at least. So today for the advocacy segment, we're going to be talking about just like responsibility in general, and that can go in a lot of ways. Kind of like we were just talking about this during the break, but things like if you're a manufacturer, that has a lot to do with making your juice in a responsible, professional, and clean way. Not putting dumb shit on your labels like trademark infringement and cartoons. But this is also we're also going to talk a little bit about things like how consumers themselves need to get involved in advocacy and kind of how you can do that, because. Maybe it's just because I deal mostly with like the trade organizations that do advocacy, but like I see a lot more stuff coming from companies towards advocacy than consumers. And like, don't get me wrong, I get that. I'm never saying like, oh, the consumer should handle all the burden, because like we're the ones making the money off of it, but you're the ones that want these products. So like it's going to take a group effort, I guess is my point. So either way, you want to start out, we have a graphic designer here, so maybe you want to talk about the responsible labeling?
Yeah, I mean,
kind of up your alley.
Yeah, you kind of talked on it. It's not putting cartoons on things. You don't need cartoons to sell things. I mean, Bradley's brand is actually like a great example, honestly, because Joe has very, very clean labels that do pop on the shelf. No cartoons whatsoever. Just really clean, like I said. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to have cartoons or even goofy names like, your unicorn blood or, whatever else.
Monkey farts.
Yeah, monkey farts or like other stuff like that. It's like, it's really not needed, honestly. Like, especially just because, customers come in and like, they really don't give two shits about the name, to be honest.
No.
Like, at least, working in retail, they want to know what the flavor profile is. And, the more that the label pops without cartoons is, definitely.
Yeah, and I've even seen some customers walk into stores that they legit liked the flavor of one of those juices with the ridiculous names, but they wouldn't say it. Because, it's like if you're a 45-year-old guy, you're not going to walk in there and be like, hey, give me that monkey fart.
Yeah, give me the rainbow shit, whatever.
Yeah. So, like I've legit heard somebody walk in and they're just like, yeah, the monkey one.
Yeah, or
can I have that monkey one?
Yeah, that purple one over there. Like, they don't want to say the name. Like, it's not needed.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, you're not only not attracting customers doing that, but you're driving people away. Like, if they're embarrassed to to buy your product, like, that's not what you were going for, hopefully.
Right, and I've even had customers that, purchase unicorn balls because they don't even want the bottle that it comes in. They want to dump it in something else, and that just says something right there, so...
Yeah, and I'll even give a shout out to the last company you worked at for that, like the labeling for formal.
Oh yeah, we definitely wanted to keep it, mature.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing
Yeah.
that could be-
There's not much more mature than a tuxedo on the bottle.
Right, or even like I think a mask from like a masquerade.
Yeah,
almost.
and
Yeah.
a dress for.
Right,
Yeah.
and even just the clean like the matte labels with the pops of color from the
Well, that was like they had
tire.
some like metallic on there too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
There was a foil backed.
Yeah.
really clean.
Yeah, so good on them. Even stuff like so you got some Gunner stuff here.
Yeah.
Zombie chiller, great juice by the way. But like, I respect Gunner and his company too, because they kind of achieve that same thing. It's like that is an eye-catching bottle that they could very easily have just like cartoon zombies on there and stuff like that, but they
Right.
don't because they're responsible citizens of the industry.
Well, even with Gunner's new marketing, I mean, him and I have been going back and forth new ideas. He's going more of like a retro theme, but not
Yeah.
like when you think retro, you're like, okay, cool, like retro video games, but it's definitely not that. It's your more like retro lines and stuff like that. So he's doing it the right way as well. So yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Gunner.
Yeah, and like he's kind of bounced some ideas off of me for some of that stuff too, and like I don't want to give away his hype, before like he schedules it to happen, but like I'll say I really like it.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
looks dope.
For sure.
So more. Let's see what else comes along with this.
Well, besides keeping it, no cartoons. Another big thing, I guess, is IP theft, making it look
Yes.
like food products.
Especially-
that we all know.
Right,
Yeah.
especially including like that sort of thing in the box. I've seen companies, include candy and
Yeah.
all this stuff in the box, and it's just like that's really not needed.
And
Honestly.
honestly, to me, like the IP theft is one of the things that infuriates me the most, because like when I go out and talk to legislators and I say, no, we don't need you to regulate us, like we're responsible, we can regulate ourselves, and then they pull out this bottle that's
Yep.
Fruit Loops with one of the words misspelled slightly and it's got a toucan on it. They're like,
Right.
oh really? I'm just like how do I respond to that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
thank you for your time, goodbye, you're not voting for us.
And the worst thing is too is like with those photos, it's usually like a toucan vaping or something as
Yeah,
well. It's like it's not
yeah.
even like a straight rip off. It's like the toucan's vaping, or it's has a bottle of e-liquid in the hand.
Dude,
it's-
and all that shit reminds me of so like I used to go down to Mexico all the time. It's like it's only a couple hour drive from here, and it was always just like we would just drive down there and get drunk or whatever, hang out. But like I noticed like right when you cross the border, there's a bunch of people selling knockoff stuff.
Yep.
You can get your fake Nikes and your fake purses and just
Fake
like
Ray-Bans.
yeah, but like they kind of do the same thing. They'll always change that one letter in there, so it's
Yep.
but it's still the same style and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like I hate walking into a vape store and it looks like that.
Yeah, you don't need to rip off other brands.
Right.
Yeah.
Be creative.
And
Yeah.
that's the
You
thing.
can make
like,
it look, appealing.
as a
Without
graphic
copying
designer,
something.
like you should stand your ground with your label designs. If you have new clients and stuff like that, like you need to tell them straight up, like no, this is why you shouldn't do it for these reasons. Like don't agree to something just because there's money involved or whatever. Be responsible about it, because that's your name behind it at the end of the day too.
That's dude, I'm so glad you said that, because like that's true not only for graphic designers, that's true for literally everybody from A to Z in this industry. Like stand your ground even if there's money involved. Like that's perfect, because if you're a manufacturer for third party juice and somebody walks in and they want to make My Little Pony juice, do not do it.
Right.
You can stop it. If you decide not to stop it, then if you're a retail store owner, if you're a distributor, or whatever, like depending on which way it goes through the chain next, if you're a distributor and somebody comes to you and says, hey, I got this great selling juice, but it has My Little Pony on it, do not carry it. If you're a retail store and somebody sends you samples and it's the best juice you've ever had and the wholesale price is super low, do not carry it. If you're a customer and you walk into a store and you try the best looking, the best tasting thing you've ever tasted in your life, and again, it has My Little Pony on it, do not buy it.
Right, and that's
this is all about money.
And
So
it's
like
also
if you don't buy it, if nobody buys it along the supply chain, then the person who's doing the infringement in the first place is going to stop, because they're trying to do it to make money.
Right.
So don't give it to
Yeah,
them.
and also like with the vape models on Instagram too,
Yeah.
like they're one of the biggest culprits of that. It's like you're getting that check at the end of the day, but you're not doing the industry any favors, to be honest, and that's what makes me mad.
Plus, do you even vape, bro?
Right, and it's and like some of them don't even have the correct nicotine warnings, which is maybe what we should talk about
Yeah.
too. Is the
Yeah.
warnings that we got to put for photos on e-liquid now. There's an app called MOV Warnizer
Yeah,
that you
MOV
can get for
Warnizer,
both
yeah.
Android and Apple. We can put a link down below for that, but I mean it does it all for you.
They actually, I heard they have it for Windows Phone too. For all three of you out there who have a Windows phone.
Still make Windows phones.
Radio Shack still exists, so why not? Wow.
Radio Shack sells them online.
Yeah, right. I'm learning.
I hope they have their new batteries
Do they have a
installed.
Blackberry app?
Yeah, right.
Hit me up on BBM.
Dude, I used to have a Blackberry, and like I thought my Blackberry was the coolest thing ever back in the day. I mean, this was 15 years ago or whatever, but like I used to have one, and I'm not gonna lie, like I loved it because like it had the actual like physical keyboard.
Yep.
And like I got these big old fingers, so like a lot of times like if it's got the keyboard on the screen, I'm like pushing a thing next to it.
Yeah, they still make Blackberries too, but they're a day late and a buck short in my opinion. Honestly, they're dope, but I mean with Samsung and Apple, it's game
Well, I mean,
changer.
you can still probably find someone to sell you a horse-drawn carriage if you want to, but like that doesn't mean they're hype right now.
Unless you're Amish, you don't really need that.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, let's move on to people who should be involved in advocacy. Statistically speaking, if you are watching this show, it's you. That's that.
Yeah, and it's not all from a monetary standpoint as well.
No.
Like people don't have even like $50 to give, 100, whatever it is. It's about getting involved and even getting out there and into your local meetings and stuff like that. Like that's the most important thing is like starting at a local level and then maybe like national. But that's where it starts is
Yeah, and like honestly, like so any of you who know me know that I'm kind of an idiot, and like I'm not hiding that. That's the truth. So like I've had people ask, they're like, man, you must be like two different people when you're doing advocacy and when you're selling juice. It's like maybe a little bit, but not really. Because the thing is like. The unfortunate truth is the reason that somebody like me can like rise as high in the advocacy world as I had is because nobody is doing it.
Right.
Like my biggest qualification for this is I'm willing to work. So like if you don't like the way that I'm doing things, please take my job. Like please. I don't want to do it anymore. like don't get me wrong, like it's important. I'm going to keep doing it as long as it's necessary, but like we don't get paid. We pay to do things,
Right.
And it's not like we get reimbursed for that. Like when I fly somewhere, if I fly to DC or something like that, like Safada doesn't pay for that.
And it's not cheap either.
No.
Like it's not.
No, I'll drop $1,000 on a 3 or 4 day trip easy.
Right, and you don't get to book your flight beforehand. It's like, hey, Dave, in 3
Yeah.
weeks we need you here or there, or hey, tomorrow. Like,
Yeah, 3 weeks is generous sometimes.
Right, yeah. So it's not like you just get to book your plane ticket months in advance as well.
Yeah, I mean sometimes we do, and that's dope because like. I mean, it's way cheaper that way for some
Right.
reason, but
Yeah.
but I guess the point is like, if you are in the industry making money off of this product, then you should obviously be helping out. And I'm not just saying throw money at us, like do things. The most effective thing that people can do is talk to their legislators. They actually, believe it or not, will listen to you. Whether they agree with you or not at the end doesn't really matter, but they will listen to you, and if and it's kind of a numbers game. If one person comes in there and says, "Hey, stop harassing vapors," they probably won't care. But if 100 people do it, then they will absolutely care, because every person that talks to them, they see that as they multiply it by some number, and it's different for every district or whatever.
Right.
But they say if one person cares about this enough to come up and talk to me about it, that means there's X number of people who feel the same way, but not enough to actually come down to do it, to talk to me about it. So the more people that we have talking to these people about this stuff, the more likely it is for us to succeed. And we've absolutely had that happen. We've had legislators call us before and be like, hey, like I give up. I'm not sponsoring this bill anymore. Please tell your people to stop harassing me. And like the first time that happened, I felt like kind of a dick. But then I thought about it and I was like, no, this is awesome.
Right.
Like that's how you win these things. And like I am not 100 people. So I can't do all that by myself.
Yeah.
So like help us. There's a lot of times that like especially in like the state legislature where this guy from I'll just pick on Tucson. We'll say this the representative from Tucson will put up a bill for the whole state, and I can't go talk to him because I'm not one of his constituents. Like I can go talk to my the legislators from my district and get them to oppose it, and we're actually getting pretty good at that. But to like cut it off at the source, we need people from that district to do it. And I'm absolutely willing. I will tell you everything I know about it. It is not hard. This is not going to be a semester-long course of how to talk to legislators. I can tell you everything you need to know in under an hour, but then you just need to go do it. So like everybody has this motivation for it. Like a lot of people that are involved in advocacy from the business side are doing it because they want to keep their business. But politicians' sole motivation is to get reelected. So if you can kind of convince them, like, yeah, if you push this bill, we are going to get people to vote for your opponent or not vote at all, or you're going to get some bad PR for it or whatever, they will do it. And frankly, I think that's why a lot of the the bills get placed in the first place, or like ran in the first place, is because the anti-vaping people will come up and be like, you are murdering kids if you don't do this. And they're like, well, yeah, I don't want people thinking I'm murdering kids, so yeah, I'm going to run this tobacco 21 bill. So I don't know. And I know I've said this before, but like the cool thing about doing this is like we don't have to like hype people on things or lie to them or spin anything. Like we are right. Like we can show them just actual data, and that's hard for the other side to refute.
Well, and along with
they
that,
have to
like,
spin things.
I know we did talk with Joe a few weeks ago about, sharing those negative articles on Facebook, and that's something I want to touch on a little bit, since we are kind of talking to the average consumer here too, is like, you don't need to be sharing those articles for, every one bad article. There's easily 10 to 15, good articles that you can be sharing on Facebook, this and that. Like, as soon as you share something, it goes viral, so that's not very smart to be, it's not helping our fight at all, so.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Don't be a carrier.
Yeah.
Inoculate yourself against bad science with good science. So, you got anything to add?
No, I mean, really just going back to the elections, there are good people that are on our side that run for office and know who you're voting for.
Yeah.
That should, it's not a deciding factor, in this industry, but it definitely should be a factor for who you choose.
Dude, and I gotta say, it's been rough for me because, like, I know I'm gonna get a bunch of hate for saying this, but I've been a Democrat most of my life. And unfortunately, the Democrats are against us on this issue, so it's really made me question a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, I'm a libertarian, so it's easy for me.
So fuck everybody. Yeah. Good stuff. All right, so we're gonna be back with a super cool chat with Martin about what's going on with those fucking big-ass biceps after this.
This is not a workout. This is a revolution. This is shake weight for men, and it's going to kick your butt.
Whew, that's it.
In just 6 minutes. Guaranteed.
Educate me, Daddy. Oh, of course, that was on the film. That's gonna end up in a blooper reel somewhere.
And we're back. That was a pretty cool commercial. I don't know what that was for, but it's always dope.
Wait, are we doing 2 commercials now?
Maybe. I mean, I do the editing, so I'll probably have to do 2 now that I said it.
That's fair.
We did a little bit of camera magic, and we actually did a face swap between me and Martin. So those are actually my muscles, and this is actually his body. So that's pretty cool. So anyways, this is our section where we're going to talk to Martin, find out a little bit more about him and what got him started. So yeah, how'd you get started on what you're doing these days?
Okay, so I'll go way back to the beginning. For the first 3 years of my life, I was extremely underweight. I would barely eat, and I would vomit a lot. So back when I was 3 years old, my dad had started me weight training. Now, nothing crazy that would stunt my growth or anything like that. My mom's 5 foot, like 5 feet tall, maybe a little less than that. So I didn't have great genetics for height, anyways. But he started having me lift weights, and that got my metabolism going. And I started eating, and I started growing because I was like off the chart small for my size, for my age. And then when I was 8 years old, he actually entered me into a little peewee weightlifting competition in Safford, Arizona. I won that competition, then went to a national competition for my age group. I won that, and I started setting American records back when I was, a little fella.
Really?
Yep.
That's dope.
Yep. I was 9 years old, my first AAU Junior Olympics. Which was actually in New Orleans, Louisiana. I entered a powerlifting competition, which I took first place in. And then I continued competitive weightlifting and powerlifting up until I was 17 years old, and did fairly well. That's about the time I quit doing competitive lifting. I had issues with my back, which I still have now. That prevented me.
I kind of figured it was, I stopped doing competitive lifting because nobody could even come close. It just wasn't even fun anymore.
No, it was super competitive the older I got, definitely, for sure. But I was always up there for my age and weight class at the time. And so from 18 years of age to like 23, 24 years of age, I pretty much quit lifting. I was burnt out. Between that time, my dad had passed away. My dad had always been my coach for weightlifting, and just not in good place, in my life. Wasn't working, wasn't going to school. It was a bad time. Then I started going back to school, graduated, decided, I graduated ASU in 2012. And I decided to get back into lifting again. I decided to go more towards physique instead of strength. at that point, mainly because my knee and my lower back just couldn't handle the heavy weights anymore. I still lift relatively heavy, but I'm a lot more conscious of my safety now than I used to be. And I still hurt myself. I mean, this time...
I was going to say, didn't you hurt yourself like a year ago or something?
Yeah, I mean, about a year and a half ago, I tore my bicep tendon off the bone.
So you heard it here. There was a time recently that I could beat Martin at arm wrestling.
Absolutely, 100%. Yep. And I had to get that surgically reattached. Sorry. So just try to be careful, stay healthy. I did compete in my first physique competition in late 2016. I took second place in the overall division, which was really good. So I wasn't just going against novice competitors.
Is that the picture you have as your profile picture?
Yeah, that's my profile picture, my 2-year-old profile picture. And I haven't been super serious since that competition, to be honest. The amount of dieting I had to do to get to that level and the discipline was really high. For a minimal award, you get a trophy. You get the pictures, you feel good about yourself, but you're not making money. You're not going to make money in physique unless you have retarded genetics, which I don't have, and you can only work so hard. Your genetics will only take you up to a certain level. I'm sorry to say that. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So I've been lifting, since 2016. Not quite enough to maintain, but not lose too much.
See, I was going to say, you actually look pretty weak right now.
As he socks you in the face and knocks you out right now.
That was kind of my test. It's am I good enough friends with Martin to get away with this? Or?
That bicep tear happened after the competition. Was a huge setback for me. I tore my quadricep back in 2014, which required surgery, and something happened to that scar after that competition as well. This was actually a year ago. That also was a huge setback that required me to have surgery again on my quadricep. So I just had a lot of setbacks, and.
So are you back to 100% now, or still recovering in some ways? No.
Okay, so my right bicep will never be the same.
Right.
So that 100% is never going to happen again. The shape is different than it used to be. It doesn't have the strength it used to, and it just won't at this point. I have chronic problems with my lower back, so I'm just careful at the gym. I'm probably going to be, stepping it up more, trying to, consistently get my 5 days a week. Again, I allowed myself to get kind of soft, for my standard, more than I like, and just.
He went from steel to concrete.
Yeah,
pretty
well,
soft.
Just to put things into perspective, on my competition day, I weighed 185, and I had slightly more muscle than I have now, and I weigh 205. So, I'm probably packing about 15 pounds extra fat than I was on that day. That math is wrong. More than 20 pounds.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I was like, you don't math very well, bro.
So I want to get back because, I want to feel good about myself, and that's what it comes down to, feeling good about yourself. Not caring, necessarily how other people see you, but I want to look in the mirror and be like, yeah, I'm okay with that. I like that.
So one thing, during the last break, me and Martin were talking about, and he asked me to help him train. So I'm going to do that. He's
going to start lifting with me. Yeah. I'm going to teach him how to become a professional bodybuilder. We're going to take down Phil Heath.
I don't even know who that is, but fuck yeah.
Yeah,
Mr.
fuck
Olympia.
that guy.
Okay.
7-time Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, coming for you, Phil.
So my question to you is
before pick.
how hard is it to kind of keep, your home work and your workout regimen? How hard is, to kind of keep a balance of all the above to kind of just, because I know it's hard, your work and then your personal life and then head to the gym. I'm sure that gets pretty hard. So
yeah, that together with the fact that for those who don't know, I have 7 parrots and 2 dogs at my house, so I have a lot of responsibilities at my house as well, and they need to be, fed and given attention. Luckily, I have Bree, my girlfriend, who does, the majority of that, but I still have to do my part.
Man, you have such a cool resume. You wholesale department creator, zookeeper,
right?
Bodybuilder,
yeah, exotic zoo too,
right?
So yeah, it is a lot. You just have to manage your time well. Usually I'll get my workouts in before I even go to work, so it's over with, done with. As soon as I'm off work, I don't have to worry about it. I tend to hate working out after work because after work I don't want to do it. I feel like crap.
Yeah.
Working out is also a good way to wake up and go to work, not being groggy.
Yeah, energized and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So is that just a personal preference thing, or is there actually any sort of because of your metabolism or whatever, it's better to work out in the morning.
I don't know.
Fair enough.
I've never looked at that science.
And I gotta say, thank you for not doing what I feel like a lot of people that are in the just health arena in general and just make shit up.
Oh, right.
I hate that.
No, I'm all about facts, data, science.
Yeah.
And if you ask me a question that I don't know the answer to, I will just state I don't know the answer to it.
I'd rather have that than bullshit for sure, dude. Because that's we were talking a little bit during the break about just just YouTube videos and Google and you can figure all this stuff out. It's but there's so much conflicting information about it out there, and everybody claims to be an expert. Or actually, I think the word they use is a guru.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Always be skeptical of anybody who says they're a guru, because that just means that they're self-trained and they think they're awesome.
Yeah, or a nut, like health nuts.
Yeah.
They don't know what the hell they're talking about.
No, I mean, at least nuts are accurately describing themselves.
I don't know, yeah.
Yeah, so as far as difficulty, I mean, the most difficult thing I did was prep for that competition.
Right.
And it wasn't because I necessarily trained more. I was training maybe one more time per week than what my normal schedule would be. It was the food. It was meal prepping, and then you're actually starving yourself. You're not starving yourself to the point where you're losing muscle. There's a fine balance with the amount of calories you take in for losing muscle compared to fat, but it changes your state of mind completely. I was a different person while I was
how so?
Grumpy, no patience whatsoever. Don't ask me any stupid questions.
So you're not still in that, right?
No, definitely not.
When we start working out, I'm going to ask you a lot of stupid questions.
Unfortunately, my good friend and former coworker, Tommy, had to deal with me while I was his boss. I'm so sorry, Tommy, during that time. And he could even tell you, it was different. It was different. And, self-awareness helps to a certain point, but, your fuse is just so much shorter.
Yeah.
There's a lot less you can handle.
So you talked a little bit about meal prep a second ago. What sort of things do you eat when you're prepping for a competition?
So in order to keep it simple, I just pretty much ate the same thing every day. And that included, some of these things are a little weird and off the wall. I would have Snackwell's Devil's Food Cake cookies, or Devil's Food Cake things.
I'm on board with this diet already.
Have those have 0 grams of fat. So I always try to track my proteins, my fats, and my carbohydrates, macronutrients. For my diet, my fats were super low, carbohydrates were decently high, and the proteins were high. I mean, I have 2 grams per pound of body weight.
So what do you count as decently high for carbs? Because I'm just coming off the keto diet now that I've gotten what I wanted to out of that, and for that it was
my whole
20
meal
a day.
prep. I never dipped below 200 grams of carbs per day.
So pasta and stuff is cool?
Depends what you dress it with. Yeah, pasta itself is cool because
fair.
my fats I kept below 25 grams, which is extremely difficult. So my proteins were limited, besides whey isolate, chicken breast, egg whites. Those were my sources of protein. My fats, which I had very little of, were mostly, chicken breast has a tiny bit of fat, and peanut butter, a little bit of peanut butter. I used to spread peanut butter on my rice cakes. And my carbs were made up of the Snackwell Devil's Food Cakes, and rice cakes, and berries, mixed berries. I would actually make a smoothie with egg whites, mixed berries. I throw a little Splenda in there, and Greek yogurt.
Greek yogurt.
Yes,
okay.
Greek yogurt. Yep.
So is there any...
all those foods are pretty much all I ate.
Is there any constraints on sugar, or just how it relates to fat? So usually things have both.
I don't know again.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know.
No, for sure. Because I'll say when I was doing keto, that was one of my big problems. I was just eating healthy. That means fruits and vegetables and stuff. And it turns out most fruits have too much sugar for the keto diet. So I had to be aware of that.
Right, absolutely, 100%.
So.
My diet was almost the opposite of keto. It was high carb, high protein. Well, protein part doesn't matter. High carb, low fat, super low fats, and that's how I got shredded. Now, there's not only one way to diet though. I mean, keto works for people. I know there's bodybuilders that use keto also during prep, but that's just worked well for me. For carbs, the good thing about high carbs while you're prepping, instead of the high fats, it would be the glycogen levels in your muscles keep you full. Yes, it keeps your muscles full. So you don't look like some bodybuilders when they go on a keto diet. They look like they flattened, like a pancake almost. And then as soon as they have, their first 3 donuts the next day, all of a sudden they're huge.
Yeah.
But glycogen levels are the reason I kept a high carb intake to remain looking full.
So obviously I know what glycogen is, but for our viewers who don't.
Oh man, I can't explain it scientifically.
Okay, fair enough.
It's the thing in your muscles. It's a thing in your muscles.
Fair enough,
Maybe
fair
you
enough.
can. You mind? You go ahead.
Oh, okay, you called my bluff. I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's when we pop up the definitions on the screens. People
There you
can
go.
read, and I'll educate myself. Too, 'cause I have no
Yeah, come on,
idea.
man. How do you not know? It's right here.
Right.
Yeah, I just know what they do.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, cool. So we're gonna about to run out of time for the segment. So anything else you want to throw out there?
No.
No.
I think we're good. Yeah.
Dude, I love it. Just like honest answers about things. No, I don't. I always feel like I put people on the spot when I say that because they're like, "Oh shit, I got to think of something." He's just like, "No, I'm good." So yeah, that's it. Thank you once again for joining us on Beyond the Clouds.